In this week's edition of Tutorial Tuesday, I'm going to talk about my new Japanese-style raising and forming steaks. I'm really excited to finally make these. I've been wanting to make them for quite a while, and I've finally found the time to do so. So, what we've got here is two different sizes. They come in 1¼ inch stock and 1 inch stock. The 1¼ inch stock weighs about 10 pounds, while the 1 inch stock weighs about 6 pounds. The larger ones have about a 2 inch by 1 3/4 head on each side, and the smaller ones have closer to 1 3/4 by 1.5 inch heads on each side. And each one is going to be available in 3 different head angle combinations. The head angles are going to be 120 degrees, 90 degrees, that's the same on these ones, 45 degrees, 30 degrees, 15, and 0 degrees. And those angles are the angle that the head sits compared to the shaft. They are also available, the way you are going to order these is you are going to choose the diameter or the radius of the head. So, for instance, if you wanted to make a 6-inch diameter vessel, that means you take the diameter, the length from here to here, and you cut it in half. That would be the radius. So the radius for a 6-inch diameter vessel is 3 inches. If you wanted to make a 6-inch diameter vessel, you would order a 3-inch radius head. But that talks about width-wise, side to side. This would be your wide axis, and then your length axis. So you can also, if you wanted to have a vessel that was this round, say 6 inches round, but tall linearly, you could order this angle at a much longer radius. In Japan, what they do is they sell these unfinished, and then the smith would take and finish the heads to the size that they wanted. But I think that most people in the US would prefer to have them pre-finished, as most of us don't have the proper tooling to do that efficiently. So basically what you can do is you can order whatever size you want. When you are making your size selection, and say the smallest vessel that you might want to do is a 6-inch, but the largest vessel that you want to do might be an 8-inch. A 6-inch will work for an 8-inch vessel, but a 8-inch steak will not work for a 6-inch vessel. So this one here has an 8-inch radius on it, 8-inch diameter, 4-inch radius, and you could see that there is a little bit of gapping in there. That means like a dead spot in the center where the metal will be floating. So if you have that air gap in between, it will not work. So this one will work. It will fit perfectly on here, this way and that way. But this one will have air gappage. If I was going to take this vessel over here, I can still use it. It will not be perfectly ideal, and this is kind of a bad cutout, so there is going to be some gappage there because it's not perfect. But you can use a smaller radius head for a larger vessel, but you cannot use a larger radius head for a smaller vessel, if that makes sense. The reason that these come in 3 different head angles is because if you wanted to planish, or 3 different head angle sets, is if you wanted to planish, say, this vessel, to get into the very end, you need the 120 degree head. Otherwise, it will hit and bind. To get into the next area, you're going to want the 90 degree head to get into that area. If you want to planish further down, you would go to the next head angle. And this one can get into this area here. You can see where it starts to hit. And so on and so forth. So as they go down the line, you need to change head angles. There are other ways to planish as you are forming your vessel, so you don't need so many stakes. But in the end, you need something that could get into every area as you are working it. These are typically mounted into a piece of wood, like a wooden stump. You cut a rectangular slot in the stump and put them in, and you wedge them in place with other pieces of wood. If you want, an option when you order them is to order them with these drilled holes that can have these pins that slot in, and now you can stick them in your vise. So these pins and the hole spacing should be long enough to where if your vise is sitting like so, it should be able to sit in between your vise at the desired angle. And if you want to adjust that angle, what you do is you could just take like wood scraps or any sort of spacer. Like for instance, I've got this spacer here that you could use, and just kind of stick that on the top of your vise to shorten the angle in between. The bodies are made of mild steel, and the heads are forged 1045, hardened and polished, so they will retain a nice polish. I think that's about it for these. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below and I'll try and answer them. I know it's a little bit confusing. And if you are ordering them and you are not sure exactly what you want to order, you could always write me a note or send me an email and I can help you with your selection. I hope this was informative, and I hope you understood what I was trying to tell you. Please let me know if there's something else you'd like me to talk about in the future. And until next time, have a great day.